conferences or seminars, and you might have been interested in what I was doing, maybe you crossed a very intense slides with a speech that normally goes with the flow. This time, since the occasion is very different, I prefer to change my modus operandi. So instead of having like nice slides and going with the flow, I have a speech and almost zero slides, just because I want to be sure that that my emotions and this moment comes directly to you. So first of all, thank you very much for inviting me for this wonderful occasion and celebration. It is nice to see virtually so many friendly faces, and it's a pity that I cannot be there, but work is calling, and Italy and Portugal are close, but not that close to come on a 24-hour trip. And for those who I didn't have the chance to meet, I'm Lorenzo Annulli, former PhD in Technical Lisbon and postdoctoral researcher in Aveiro with the Graph Group. So I lived in Portugal for basically 7 years. And as you can imagine, this had a huge impact in my life. And I'm very proud of that, to be half Portuguese. I don't have a passport, but still I know all the Pimba songs. So this is something that is still very important. So let me start with a round of virtual toasts, because my sincere congratulations to Miguel, Pedro, and Antonio. They reached a huge milestone in their career. Their achievement is impressive and well-deserved. I had the luck of meeting them during my physics career, and I'm sure they will continue to bring their added value to the entire gravitational community, both in Europe, both in Portugal and in Europe. Congratulations to Carlos, because he's the person that made Aveiro shining on the European map of physics, and his invaluable lesson, both as a researcher and as a professor, clearly shape the space-time fabric of the Portuguese research in physics and beyond. And finally, congratulations also to all of us, that by adding sometimes smaller, sometimes larger steps, every day we contributed to unveil a tiny fraction of the most fascinating mysteries of nature. Not because we didn't do much work, just because the universe is, as you know, huge. So there is still a lot of work to be done. Aveiro coincided with my last official appointment as a scientific researcher, but being a researcher never really ends. Trust me, it leaves a mark on your soul, and having worked in Aveiro makes it even more profound for me. It might be because of the wind or the RIA or all the channels that run through the city. I believe that it's because of the people and their competence, value, and kindness. So today I'm not going to focus on what my research was or how this wonderful group helped me reaching a scientific maturity or any important and valuable result that you might read on the archive or on the papers. I would like to focus instead of what remains, what really lasts, even on the other side, as a professional and as a human being. Because competence, value, and kindness that I mentioned just before, I truly believe that they are what really stick within the bag of experience of someone that worked as a physicist in a group as the one in Aveiro. And these three concepts still guide me in my new path. So today I'm a financial risk management manager. I will talk about it just briefly. But still, I'm truly thankful to the Graph Group, because being there, traveling, organizing conferences, organizing the seminars, as also Guilherme was mentioning before, taught me so many lessons about how to tackle a problem, think independently, and shape my future. And this is something that even in a different, completely environment, I'm still surrounded by physicists, of course. We search for the same kind of way of thinking, and that's a very important thing. I found a job, I already changed, I moved into another job within another, thanks to another physicist that wanted me to work with him. And this is something that it's really important, because the way in which we think, the way in which we tackle problem, the resilience of a physicist, of a researcher, it's something that in the end stays with you. Today, as I was telling you, I work as a risk manager in one of the largest financial institutions of Europe. My specific job is to understand, model, and manage the possibility that someone that you lend money will not give it back to you. It's as simple as that. But there are tons of models to try to understand and to shape this possibility. This process is called credit risk management. But again, these concepts are just labels. We could talk about how this investment raises the probability that our planet will continue to exist as we know it. We could talk about how most of the equation of finance, behind finance, are basically physics equation, or how modeling a stochastic event and implementing a Monte Carlo method could be interesting. However, that is not the point. If you are a person that jumped out from academia, you know that these are just labels, because in the end, what we do as physicists is modeling phenomena, trying to understand them, to monitor them. Clearly, if you work in a bank, as Guillermo was saying, you need to monitor them after you've done your job, but still it is something that can happen even if you are a physicist in, for instance, in the part of gravitational wave analysis, as it is clearly increasing during these days. And as a physicist, I grew both technically and transversally, and Aveiro helped me in growing all round as a professional. My job today, it's not really about risk, is to apply criticism every time I have a document in front of myself. It's having the curiosity to make the right question after having made 10 wrong. This is a concept that it always appeared during your PhD, during your master, and now it still appears as a professional in a bank. That is something that one might say, your job might be moving a brick from here to there. No, it's just asking the right questions and having the resilience in finding the correct answer after 10 times that you take it wrong. And also you need to trust your collaborators. And if you want to achieve any ambitious results, and I think if we are here is because the people that are around in this event trusted the others, give the possibility to make mistakes, to rise. And in the end, this is what I'm really thankful for, because my journey to Aveiro made me understand what I want to be in life. It hasn't been always roses and flowers, as we say in Italy. I left physics as a job in Aveiro. It hasn't been an easy decision. Carlos, Luis, Etevaldo know very well. But still, I always felt understood from the leader to the students. And this is something very powerful. So guys, I want to thank you once again. Remember that I'm always nearby if you want to know about credit risk, if you want to know about international cooperation, and if you want to know how we are trying to help Rwanda and Democratic Republic of Congo to deal with their problems about political problems, because we are lending money to try to make Africa, in this case, more independent from AIDS, for instance, from all the AIDS that Trump cut it just some months ago. These are all very interesting topics. If you want to talk about it, we want to talk about physics, I'm here. And it would perhaps surprise you how large and transversal are the skills of a physicist even outside academia. So thank you very much, and I leave you with this final message.
Thank you very much, Lorenzo, for this amazing testimony. And I think that the students or anyone in the group that would like to know more, contact you if they want to know anything about risk or any of these related topics, they can surely get in touch with you. And of course, if you come to Portugal, don't forget about us. And I'm sure that if we go to Rome, we will also think about knocking on your door.
I would be very happy. This is just a collage of pictures from all the wonderful time we had together. So guys, thank you once again. And you have my number, if not my email, and we can talk whenever you want. Have a great night.
Thank you very much, Lorenzo.
And congratulations.
Thank you. And very nice to see you once again. Okay, so...